Thank you for viewing Channel 14's Forum 87. We welcome you into our living room. We are live tonight. Thank you very much. It's new, it's different. We'd like to be as close to you as your phone. If you have a question or comment, please dial 823-5517. Let me make a correction. It is 5571. I'd like to talk about our live show on May 6th, next week, at this time from 7 to 8 p.m. Did you know that in 1986, 16,000 unwed mothers had children in this state? That was 1986, 16,000. Our program next week will address that question and that important item. We are going to be asked, and we hope to answer that evening, are our youth being exposed to sexual experiences at too early of an age? Or should they be exposed at all? Who should teach our children about the sexual mores of the family and the church? Listen into our program. It will be exciting, it will be live, and we want you to comment. We will have several experts. Listen to them, and let us get your point of view. Tonight, though, we have with us members of the County Commission. We have the County Executive, Ossey Mitchell. We have members of the Budget Committee, Quarles, and we have a member of the Public Safety Committee, Gantt. There is a truism in American politics: when the need arises, the man is chosen by the people. And that is so true of our county executive. Roughly 8, 9, 10 months ago, our county was in turmoil. One group, one board didn't speak to the other. People looked at our board of education and our county commissioners and didn't have the faith and support for them that was necessary for good government. That has been changed, due primarily to Ossey Mitchell and the new board members and some of the board members that carried over. They are now working as a team. I'd like to ask Ossey, again, as I asked you last time, if I may call you Ossey.
Fine.
You came into office September of 1986. Has your perception of the job of county executive changed somewhat since then?
Yes, Vic, definitely it has. It's a much more time-consuming and demanding job than I thought. Frankly, I thought I'd get to do a lot of spring fishing. I think I went one time. It's the kind of job, if you're interested in trying to do things and look at positive things, and if you're interested in trying to solve the problems, which you'll always have, then it's a full-time job. It's not a part-time job. And I found that I am interested in solving the problems. I am interested in looking at positive things for the county, and it takes a great deal of time.
Well, I'd like to ask Quarles a question then. The county executive has been in office roughly 7 months. You are a seasoned campaigner on the county commission. What's your opinion? Are things more tranquil? Is the direction that you would like?
Yes, definitely. I think things are more tranquil. I think that not only are the members of the county commission getting along with each other, we're also getting along with the school board, which has changed from last year.
That's quite a change.
Yes, and I think that we owe Ossey a great deal of credit in the way that he's handled the business of the county and the county commission in particular, because he's instituted a very strong committee system. Everybody has a job, and I think the more people get involved, the more interested they are, and the better we all get along.
Gene, you're a new member, but I know that you went to many meetings. What's your perception? Is the job as you expected it? Are your co-commissioners affable, helpful? What's your opinion?
Well, there was a lot to learn, and there still is a lot to learn for me being a new member. I guess the big thing that I didn't expect was the magnitude of the things, the details and the things that had to be learned along with this job. I think the commission is doing a great job, and you know, I have to say that about all the members. I think they're getting along very well, and we talk things out, we work things out, and we have been able to work together thus far. I think we will be able to in the future as well. But the learning experience has been tremendous for me, and I wish I had 4 or 5 years of this behind me so I could get more things done. But at the same time, it's a great experience to learn.
Do you think you might have been better prepared for the job if perhaps a few weeks before you assumed the office that you could have gone to some meetings or held by some group to say, okay, you're a new member, here's what you can expect? Or did you go through that?
Yeah, we did. Several of the new members and some of the members that had been on the commission before, we attended a government workshop in Nashville. It was sponsored by the University of Tennessee, and they pretty much told us, here's what your job is as a county commissioner, and in just a few days we were crammed full of things that of course we remembered every detail of it. Yeah. They gave us a lot of helpful books and a lot of detailed information that we still use as references. Mm-hmm. So there's some good programs out there to go to.
Ozzy, let me ask you, you did indicate that the dimensions of the job were somewhat bigger than you thought, and the problems, certainly there were many of them. Has this had an effect on your home life? Are you home as often as you would like? What does your wife say?
Well, I think she expected this, Vic. To answer the first part of your question, this is the third thing I've been to this week. 3 nights, you know, of the week. Several weeks, I'm away for a short time usually, five nights a week. It'll average nearly 3 nights a week. And when I say that, it's not only just meetings or something like this. It's part of our county government function. It's our county property committee meeting. It's our public safety committee meetings, which we schedule monthly. It's our budget committee meetings. All this to keep, you know, it takes a lot of time. And it's more suitable with a lot of commissioners to meet at night. My wife, I think, expected it. My father was always in politics, and during our married life, and she saw right off that you know, that it takes a lot of your time. It's very rewarding, but most of it's a challenge, and I think that's the intriguing thing. That's what keeps the old adrenaline going. That somebody says you can't do it, or it's a problem that somebody says, oh, you can't solve that. That's the kind you like.
Well, we'll be getting into some of those problems, but I'd like to ask you a question on your leadership style. Gene Gantt and Gene Quarles just mentioned that there were committees. Is that your style of doing things, that you prefer to give a job to a group of your commissioners and say, resolve it and come back and tell us?
Well, I guess my style is, that's part of it, all right, but my style is getting everybody involved. And you do that by, we put some committees together and made them important committees. We don't have a committee that's not real important. And they all deal with quite a bit of money. And like I said, I put them together, made them important, and I've got people involved. When I have problems, I call the county commissioners. And one particular problem, one day I called 15 county commissioners, and 14 of them showed up. The one that didn't show up to this little emergency meeting was a fellow that was in Florida.
Meaning he didn't leave Florida to come here. Well,
anyway, he was out of town. But I guess my style is keeping people involved, and I learned a long time ago, don't say I, say we. I believe it's just, you can work with people better than you can try to dictate them. And I think along that line, I think a person in my position, in the position of county executive, would be foolhardy if he thought he could just run it without the commission. They've got to go together. The county executive and the county commission have got to work together, or the system won't work. There's just no way it will work. They have to go together. They might not always agree, but still they have to work together.
Gene Quarles, do you would you consider Ossey a strong executive, the domineering type? We've just been told he isn't by himself, but let's check.
I would consider him a strong leader. I don't consider him to be dominating. He's likes to keep people informed, and also he likes to get people's ideas and input before he really comes forth with his ideas. He likes to get other people's ideas, and he is very successful, I think, in putting his ideas into operation along with everybody else's. He's
Talking about our county executives, past, present, future, we're generally classified as a throwaway society. A president is president up until last day of office, and then you almost never hear about him again. He's gone from the scene. Let's bring it down to the county executive level. We have quite a few former judges, county executives. Do you ever call them and ask their advice or get some background that perhaps you don't have at the moment?
Occasionally I have, and occasionally they've called me and volunteered advice, which I appreciate very much.
Mm-hmm.
But in a system like we're in, nearly everybody has been different, you know. And there's certain things, monetary things, they can help you with, you know. One is setting a budget, you know. Say, hey, if one former county executive told me, be sure and leave X amount of dollars in your fund balance to last you over till the new taxes come in. I mean, little things like that is worth a lot, you know.
It certainly
and
is.
For an unexperienced person like me, and I was a new kid on the block and still am. I'm still learning. And I'm still, as Gene alluded to a while ago, I'm still looking for input.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised what you can learn if you'll just listen.
Well, tonight we hope for the last half hour of our show, roughly at 7:30, we'll click the phones and we'll get all the advice, I'm sure, that you want, maybe a bit more.
I hope
Let's see. A short time ago, Rickman voted for a mayor. The candidate who won, Mayor West, ran on a platform of we'll do away with the city of Rickman and have it continue in the form it always has been. How do you interpret that vote?
Well, from the results I read in the paper, Mr. West, Mayor West, he received something like 50-something% of the vote. I believe it was 155 out of 270, and on that platform. And the significant thing I think about that election is that, if I understand it correctly, there was about 370 people registered to vote. 270 voted. That's about 73% participation.
That's
and
a good percentage.
That is large, real large. Our county runs around 50% voting of registered voters. Nationwide, I think it's done in the 40s, isn't it?
It is.
It's pitiful.
Unfortunately very low.
The people came out in pretty strong force, 73% of them, and they voted for the man that said he didn't want a city government. So I think that kind of speaks for itself, really. For the majority of the people. I'm sure there's other people that the other side would like to see it changed. Yeah.
How, Gene, how do you interpret this? Could this be resolving a problem that we've had for quite a number of years since a school issue? Do you think perhaps it's a healing that the folks are saying, okay, Rickman doesn't have a high school, but we do have a good grade school and we're getting a better one. And you think there's something in that people are saying, look, bygones be bygones, let's work as a county rather than a city here and a city there. Could this be interpreted as part of the vote?
I'll yield the floor.
Well, I
Jane?
think so. I think that the school issue has subsided, and I think that most of the students have adapted very well to the high school in Livingston. And I believe that the majority of the people in the Rickman area feel that they're a part of Overton County, and maybe by this vote they're showing that they'd like to just get on with their lives, and they can't see any economical reasons for staying incorporated. And I think the fact that, well, the vote on the county commission to build the new school, to renovate the old part, well, in essence it will be a new school in Rickman, I think they maybe have gotten the feeling that the rest of Overton County does care about them, and maybe we can all pull together now.
Gene, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the people down there, I think, they have it within their power to, and they've shown that, to become an incorporated town. They demonstrated that, and they did that, and I think now that they have elected Mayor West, that they've taken the position they have, that, you know, maybe that, you know, that we like it like it was, I think is what they were saying more than anything else. And I think that, you know, there's a lot to be said for the healing process, and that's what we all hope will happen. That's what we all hope, that we can all pull together and cooperate as a full unit. The commissioners from that area down there are certainly very helpful to us, and they've done a lot for the county commission. They've had some good input, and I really have a lot of respect for them. So I think there's a lot to be said for the way the vote went.
If the city had endured, and apparently it will be allowed to fade away in the next year or two, would that have had a financial impact on the county?
Yes, it would. I went to the meeting they had down there with the municipal people from the University of Tennessee.
Yes.
I think you were there.
Yeah,
It was live, maybe. But anyway, that was in February.
That was in February.
Along the latter part of February. And the people from the University of Tennessee got up and explained how much the Rickman would receive in revenue from various tax sources. And as I recall, it was around $80,000, 85
About
maybe.
86,000, as I recall.
If they had 1,400 people in the
Yes.
corporation. And then that dropped down about 10,000 if they had 1,200 people in the corporation. That is money that the county wouldn't get. However, the county would not be obligated to furnish primarily the road system down there. I don't know how many miles. I've heard a figure of 14 miles. I don't know if that's correct or not. We would not, the county would not, when I say we, the county, would not have to maintain those roads. And over a year's period, $50,000 on roads is really nothing. It takes a lot of money to maintain roads.
Mm-hmm.
And that would hurt us. And then in lieu of the amount of money we receive in lieu of taxes, they would get their share of it, a per capita share. We wouldn't get that. All in all, I suppose it would be about a break-even deal, frankly, when you consider that there's planned roads to be paved down there by the county. And if the city had to do all that, you know, that amount of money wouldn't last long.
That's probably why the voters turned it down. I thought they saw the financial impact.
You can be an incorporated city and get along fine if you just don't demand any services, you know.
Yes.
But if you have services, you have to pay for them, and it poses financial problems. But financially, back to the main question, as far as financially really hurting the county, it would not.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be more or less a break-even deal. The amount of money they would get, rather than us getting it, but the fact that we didn't have to maintain the roads, you know.
So it was a washout item.
Right, kind of in and out deal.
Gene Gantt, I'd like to ask you a question. Since you're a member of the Public Safety Committee, we had the deputy sheriff was here at one of our shows and was discussing the drug enforcement and all. But during the course of the show, he said that there were times when there were only 1 or 2 deputies available in the entire county. Now, we're a big county. Is there any effort, any thinking of increasing the size of the sheriff's department to put more men on the roads?
Well, right now I have to say, you know, it hadn't been consideration that's come up before the committee at this point. We have been dealing with the organization and dealing with some issues that were pressing that had to do with contractual arrangements with the ambulance service and some things like that. Personally, I'd like to see us do that. I'd like to see us put more people on the road. It's going to be an issue that's going to have to be addressed to the voters. It's going to, not necessarily by them voting on it, but they're going to have to let us know as to whether they would approve such a move or not. I'd personally like to see that happen. And it is a big county, and when you have 1 or 2 deputies on duty, that's really not adequate for public protection, in my opinion.
It certainly isn't.
But again, that's something that we're going to have to address, and it's going to, again, we're going to need some input from the people in the communities to see if they want us to pursue that. And if they do, then by all means we'll pursue it.
Do you think there is sentiment on the commission to increase the budget to allow that?
I'm not real sure. The budget's, of course, in process right now.
That's correct.
And a lot of departments are involved, and there are a lot of facts and figures that are coming in right now, and requests are coming in. And I really couldn't answer for the entire commission as to what their feelings would be on that particular line item, if they would want to increase that area. I think if it's in the public's best interest, and if the public asks for it, then I think we're going to be sensitive to that request.
Good. So then, if there is a need for it, then you want the public to indicate it to you.
That's right.
Talking about tax resources and tax bases, let's talk about industry in our county. Offhand, what is the present unemployment rate in the county?
One figure I saw is 12.5, and another one, I think Commissioner Gantt said he saw 12.5. The last one I saw was about 13. Now that's the state figure based on the amount of unemployment payments they make. You can usually figure about 3 or 4% higher than that.
Because this doesn't take into account those people who have used up their benefits.
Right, that's exactly
yes.
right. So I'd say it's approximately 18 to 19%.
Which is a relatively
the
high
real
number.
figure. Yes, it is.
I understand that we are getting some new industry into the county.
That's correct, Vic. We
you tell us
expect
about
that
it?
number to change real quick. Well, since I've been in office, we've been real fortunate, and I'm not taking credit. I think the credit is a shared credit. I think the Chamber of Commerce has done an excellent job in recruiting industry, and I think the city and the county and everybody has worked together. So if anybody deserves a credit, I think everybody does, no particular group. Mentioning industries, one of the first things that happened about a month after I took office, we had a vacant building up at Hanging Limb that belongs to the county. And we were able to get a Cole Apparel company to locate up there, and they immediately went to work, working about 90 people. And there's a side effect to that. That building belongs to the county, and they're paying $1,800 a month rent, and they haven't missed a month. And the group that was up there prior, that had went out 2 or 3 months before I took office, they just quit, and they owe the county 7 months back rent, and we're suing for that now. So we got a factory up there working the people up there, helping them, plus it's helping the county that $1,800 a month. It's about, what, $21,600 a year, I think. That's number one. Number two was the Sterling Corporation, who bought out the Scott Fetzer building in the county industrial park that had been sitting vacant 8 years with nobody getting anything out of it, really. They have started working there. They make molding. They're out of Troy, Michigan. They're a large company. They have around, I think it's 35 different plants throughout the United States, and sell over $2 billion in products, manufactured products. The Sterling Corporation is going to make moldings, the moldings that go along the side of cars and on the bumpers and that type of thing. Presently, they're working 15 people. I understand they was going to interview about 7 more today. Their plans are at full capacity to go up to almost 150 people. That's number two. Number three, Tricon, a Japanese firm, recently was involved with a development firm named Smith and Lamone Development Corporation. This development corporation bought the old Botany Warehouse over on the airport road, a real large building, and they're presently remodeling it. They've spent a lot of money on it, and they also just 2 days ago bought 8 acres adjacent to it. So they're building office space in there now. There's some 32 ladies that went to Cape Girardeau, Missouri to train in a plant they have up there.
What type of products are they making?
They're going to make car seats, I understand. It's car seats, and the ladies that went up there to train is going to sew car seats or learn how to use the machinery to sew car seats. They're in town today, incidentally. I got a call from the Chamber of Commerce this morning, and they called him last night about 10 o'clock and said they were going to interview 20 more ladies to go up there today and tomorrow to go up there to train again. Now this company is a Japanese firm, The development people bought the building, bought the land, they renovate it and they get it ready for the manufacturer, the Japanese firm, Tricon. And then these people lease it from them and go about their manufacturing, of course. They plan by June to be employing 200 people. So when you start going with numbers, we're talking about 290 and maybe up to 150.
Yeah,
it's really been a shot in the arm for this community.
We're going to be going live in about 5 minutes. Just to remind our audience, 823-5571. Please call. We'll be certainly listening to you, and we'd like to get your comments and your questions. But back to, I think, a rather sore point about the new industries coming in. Most of them employ women. There are lots of men. Now, when the breadwinner, the head of the family, or the son, is unemployed, it does a great deal of harm to the psyche of the family and to the family structure. Is there any efforts to get those technical industries in where men can be employed? Both Janes, do you have any comments on that? First of all, do you think we should be, although we have almost no choice, we'll accept whoever can come into our community and give jobs because we need them. But don't we need job for men as well?
Well, I think we do. There's no question about that, and I think there's been an ongoing effort, and there is an effort right now to recruit that type of industry. As you say, I'm very thankful that we got the industries coming that
Definitely.
we do have. I think it's very important for the breadwinner to be at the man in the household, if to have a job. But at the same time, if the breadwinner is the lady of the house, then that's better than no breadwinner at all. So, and I think the effort's ongoing. I don't think there's ever been a lack of any effort to bring that type of industry in. We just hadn't been able to secure that thing yet. So.
Gene, do you have any comment on that?
I agree with Gene. I think that there is an ongoing effort, and perhaps when industry sees the cooperation that they're getting from our county and our city, there'll be other people who will be interested in coming in and employing men. But as Gene says, it's so important just to have industry that we'll take it.
That's true.
When we get it.
I'd like to ask a question before it's asked of you. I'll get my first dibs on it. The budget, up or down? Well, go ahead. Gene, you're a member of the Budget Committee, and you've been working assiduously on it.
Well, we're getting in budget requests from the departments right now, and we haven't had a chance to meet with the department heads yet to see if anything can be cut from their budgets or ask them to justify the raises that they're asking for. I expect that we will have a raise in our tax rate, to be perfectly honest about it. We've lost revenue from revenue sharing, and we naturally have built in things that we have no control over that the state mandates to us as far as county office holder raises, and we have in the past been giving the other employees raises if possible, and I expect we'll try to do that. Hopefully we'll be able to hold it down. Perhaps Ossey can tell you a little bit more. He's been working with it too.
Ozzy, before you comment on it, remember 823-5571. Call, ask your questions, make your comments on what we've said here or something brand new. Ozzy, go ahead. Get out of that one.
I think Gene touched on one important thing. We're just getting started. We had a meeting Monday night, the Budget Committee did, composed of Wayne Sales as the chairman. Gene is on the committee. David Dormer is on the committee. Joe West is on the committee. And Garland Watkins is on the committee. We had a meeting Monday night for about 2 hours and a half just getting started. And as she mentioned, we're analyzing the department request. And we have a bill. We're going to have a tax increase. How much, we don't know yet. But we've been fortunate, I think, we got by 1 year without an increase. In other words, this county operated 2 years without an increase in tax.
Has that increase primarily due to the lack of federal funds coming into the county, do you think?
That has the loss of revenue sharing, as Gina alluded to there, is, well, let me put it in simple figures. Last year we got $39,000 something, okay? Last year. That is about 8 cents on your tax We'll have to go up 8 cents just to make up that loss. Now, the year before, the county got around $240,000. If we get through this year with our budget, it's going to be a miracle, because what we did, we had already lost $200,000 in revenue sharing,
Yeah,
and
going in,
recognized it, and
yes.
still didn't raise the tax. You follow me?
Yeah, and you didn't cut services.
No, and we hadn't cut services. And so far, we're going awful close, but as you might recall, the first county commission meeting, or maybe the second one, I think the first one was to set the budget, but maybe it was the second county commission meeting, the legislative body meeting, I asked for approval to borrow $100,000 on a tax
Yes.
anticipation note to help us if we needed it. We haven't touched that. We haven't borrowed a penny yet. But if we can get through this year on the present tax rate, looking at those vast amount of money that was lost, revenue that was lost from revenue sharing, we're going to be very fortunate. But we cannot survive another year. We can't go into the next budget year, the 87, 88 budget year, because there'll be no revenue sharing at all. And then you've got built-in things, as Gene talked about. The state passes laws, and they don't tell you how to pay for it. They just say pay it. And we've got built-in things. Then we don't know how much the school's going to ask for yet. So I can't give you any kind of figure about what I estimate the tax increase would be, but it will be increased. Like I said, 8 cents for that. A building program we're about to enter into, probably 10 cents. That's 18 cents. But fortunately, when you compare with other counties, we rank number 7. We're the seventh lowest. There's only one county around us that's lower than we are, and that's Fentress County. And comparing Fentress County's tax structure or tax situation with Overton County's tax situation is like comparing apples and oranges. Remember, they've got a state school.
That's right.
See? Their
So-
tax rate's only $1.24. You know, they're the only county that's got a state. So they don't have to have as much tax money as we have to have.
How much of our budget is given over to the schools?
From the property tax standpoint, from the $2.62 per
Yes.
hundred of taxes, from that standpoint, $1.73 goes to schools, and in the debt service, we had a 10-cent debt service, and approximately 8 cents of that is to pay school building. So you're talking about 8 and 73, what, $1.81 out
So
of the
then-
262.
So then the schools are the largest user of tax monies.
That's correct, yeah.
Hmm.
And I think they just about are in the state too. They're really statewide. I mean, from the state source, revenue source.
May I remind our listeners again that call 823-5571. We're waiting for your questions and comments.
Dick, I'd like to comment just a minute about the industry we've had come in here. I think there's a point that not many people have really looked at. We have been able to get 3 plants in here, or 3 plants who's chosen to come here, okay? Is going to work over 400 people. And the significant thing is, we're talking about money now, we're talking about taxes. The city and the county has been out $30,000. That's all. That's all. I recently read in one county, I won't mention the county, they're building a $700,000 plant to lease to a company. That's $700,000. They've got to come up with the money out of their taxes to build. I know of another county that spent over $1 million to entice one industry. And incidentally, that particular industry is only going to work 75 people.
So you were able to induce 3 plants to come in, and it all cost the county was approximately $30,000.
That county and the city.
And the city.
Right. And that's
remarkable.
That's just, you know, people, these counties, they'll raise taxes and everything else to build a plant if a plant says it'll come in. But I think that's the point that nobody's really thought about much. Have you thought about it? You know, 450 people per capita, we've got 18,500 people in the county.
Of course, those folks are going to get paid. Their payroll will be rather high, and some of that money is going to be spent right here in the county. The stores on the square and the stores in the various communities in the county.
The Chamber of Commerce, I read an article in the Chamber of Commerce, and it said for 100 new jobs, it had an economic impact of $2 million, personal income. Now that may be high, I don't know. And it also said the spin-off industry from that would have another economic impact of about $1.5 million. Well, we're talking about nearly 400 jobs at a cost of peanuts, really. So I think that's where we've been lucky. We've really been fortunate.
Again, 823-5571. I guess we don't have any phone calls yet. Either everyone is very happy with government, or they're just amazed at our program, and will probably call afterwards. Well, let's hope that we do get a few calls. By the way, I'd like to thank the management of Channel 14. Joe Davis and his crew really put themselves out to get the phone lines installed and to make this a very exciting program. And I sincerely hope that our viewing audience will take advantage of the good graces of the Channel 14's crew. All of you have alluded to the school board several times. Are you happy the way they're spending their money? Are they being judicious in their funds? Are they over budget? They're a chronic problem? Or have they turned a new leaf too?
Well, I think that they're doing all right. At least we haven't heard if they're not. They haven't come back and asked for more money, so one can only assume that they're doing all right with what they have. We've been fortunate. I noticed that our neighboring county, Jackson County, had their schools closed
That's right.
for about 10 days, and we haven't had any problems like that or any threats of problems like that. I think they're doing very well.
I was with Mr. Garrett last, excuse me, Gene, go ahead.
I was going to say exactly what you were.
Okay, go ahead then.
We were at a meeting last night. Mr. Gantt was there, and I think he told us that the school system was right on budget at this point. There's still more time left in the year, but they're right on budget at this point, and that's a lot to be proud of. They're very proud of it. We're very proud of it as well, because when they, time and time again, we've seen that they've had to come back for more money, and I think they're really watching their reins this time. So I think they're doing a very good job.
Well, that's certainly something that our community should know, and to realize that has not happened too often. It shows excellent leadership on both boards.
I think it shows cooperation too. I might add this. Last year when we were in a hurry about setting our budget, because it wasn't set when we took office, we met with Mr. Garrett, and his request was, I can't recall exactly, it seemed like 35 or 38 cents is what he wanted for the schools. We told him we could find him 18 cents of the tax money if he could live with it. And he said, I'll learn to live with it. And he's been cooperative, and he's lived with it. He's on budget. I think that's the kind of a working relationship that the county government likes with the school. They say, hey, we've got this much money, can you work with it? And he said when he came back to us, he could work with it, he could make it work, and he's made it work. And this is a splendid relationship.
Well, Mr. Garrett was on a program a short time ago, his second visit to evaluate how things were going. And he felt that the quality of education was still being maintained. He was pleased, as you pointed out, with the budget. He obviously would like to have more, but he was able to do the job and do it to his satisfaction, which again I think is quite a good thing. The new highway, where is it? Is it on schedule? When is it going to open? What is it going to do for the county?
I've told the commissioners, I was in Nashville about 3 weeks ago and had an appointment with the Transportation Commissioner, Mr. Evans. Our representative, S. Thomas Burnett, and our Senator, Ms. Annabelle O'Brien, went with us, and we went over and talked with the commissioner. I asked him the questions about 42. I understood him to tell me that the part that's under construction now they was going to put in this year's budget enough money to complete that part, some 7-point-something miles, whatever it is. And there's a small part of it down by the co-op, less than a mile, something like a half a mile, that was not in this contract that they're working on now. He said they were going to try to get that in the budget. And that sounded all real good. And then he just stopped. And I asked the question, I said, well, what about the 2.7 miles on into Putnam County, the other end of the thing? And he didn't sound encouraging about that. Really, he didn't. Miss Annabelle and Tommy both said they would keep pushing for it. They're going to try to get it in the budget this time. But right now, that's the status of it. like I said, the commissioner didn't sound encouraging about the 2.7 miles on the other end. I told him it was like having a ladder with steps up halfway.
Yeah, if you run
can't go,
missing.
you know. But we're going to continue to push for it. I think it's top priority. We need the road. Old Highway 42 is a hazard, and we'll just have to keep pushing for it. And I'd like to ask the public to call their senator, and to call Miss Annabelle, and to call their representative, S. Thomas Burnett, and tell him that push for this to be in this year's budget.
Well, I know personally that Highway 42 is used by trucks that we use, and they're always complaining. Their schedules are invariably blocked.
Yeah.
They can't move quick enough, and we depend on them. Every Friday we have several trucks coming up to our plant, and I cannot even tell you the number of times that they complain. They've gotten behind a slow car or a tractor or something, and they're just huffing and puffing along. And these fellows have to make miles in order for them to make a profit. So we, from our end of the county, we sure hope that that road gets through real quick. Talking about road and the vehicles using them, the wheel tax, very unpopular. What does the wheel tax pay for again? I think people would like to know.
All of the $30 from the wheel tax goes into debt service, and the majority of that is for schools. Okay, the majority of debt service, I mentioned a while ago, 10 cents in debt
That's
service
right.
from the tax money. Well, then also, plus the 10 cents from the taxes, we got all the wheel sticker money going into debt service. And the majority of that debt is for past building construction, primarily schools. Not all, but primarily. That's where the money goes. And a lot of people want to know that. I realize that.
Mm-hmm. Not only do they know, they want to know where it goes, but is everybody paying it?
Obviously, everybody's not paying it, and this is a real serious issue in the county. When I ran for office, over 1,000 homes told me that voiced their opinion about the wheel sticker. Usually that's the first question they ask you, what you going to do about the wheel sticker? And I said, I'd like to do away with it, but we can't afford it. Probably. I didn't know, really. But I said, probably we can't afford it. And it turned out that's really the way it is. It's a terrible enforcement problem. It's a problem that this county legislative body is going to have to solve going into this new budget year. Let me give you, an example. We estimate, according to state statistics, there's nearly 12,000 vehicles registered in this county. That was in '85. I don't know what it is now. We estimated that there'd be around 11,000 vehicles, and we put in the budget $330,000 coming from wheel stickers. Okay, 3 times 11 is
Right,
$330,000. Okay, going into debt service. That figure, unless it picks up in the next 2 months, is going to fall way short. You've got a twofold problem. You've got the problem of people buying it and not putting it on, not displaying it. So other people see them and they say, hey, my neighbor don't have a wheel sticker because I looked on their car and I didn't see it, you know. And maybe they have it, which they're breaking the law too. They're supposed to display it according to law. And then you got the other problem of people just avoiding it. You know, I think the fine right now is about $85 if they catch somebody. There's been some talk in the county with the county commissioners of imposing an additional fine. Maybe even the system we've got now, if the sheriff's department finds out that somebody don't have a wheel sticker, then they send them a letter and give them 10 days to buy it. We're considering not being quite that nice. We're considering maybe fining them anyway, okay? A smaller fine. And then if they don't come in 10 days, it'll be the larger fine. But something, we are going to take some action on that to try to solve the problem. One county I know of, Washington County, it's a larger county than us over in East Tennessee. I talked to that county executive. He told me they hired a special man, a special deputy. He had law enforcement authority, but he was assigned to the county executive's office. And all he did, that was his complete job, was just wheel stickers and, enforcing it, and it was paying off. It's a possibility we may have to look into something like that.
You probably paid his salary and more.
Yeah. And it's a difficult thing for the sheriff department. they've got a lot of other things to worry with too.
Who actually enforces
The
wheel tax?
the sheriff's department is the enforcing
The state
agency of
troopers
the
are
county.
not involved in
No.
that?
This is a private act for the county, and the state trooper is a state employee for anywhere he is in the state, but he is not involved in private acts of counties. He enforces state laws. This is really a county law.
County one. Any possibility of the wheel tax going up or being taken off?
Well, let's go back to the last part of your question, or being taken off. I would love to see that, frankly, but that alone would increase, well, right now, 1 cent brings in around $5,800. If we raise our taxes 1 cent, we just get $5,800 more dollars, okay? If you are anticipating $300,000 from wheel sticker, divide 58 into that, and you can see how much your tax would increase.
Yes.
You know, something like, what, nearly 50 cents. In other words, our taxes right now, if we did away with the wheel sticker, would go from 362 to what, 262 to 312, roughly. It would nothing else, just to do away with it. That's your problem with doing away with it. We need the money. And the landowners, in a lot of respects, it's a fair tax, because out of our population, estimated right now at 18,500 people, we only have a little over 6,000 property owners, roughly a third.
So they would have to
Right.
assume that burden
They'd have to
if the
assume
wheel
the
tax
burden.
went.
And after a while, if you get land taxes too high, you discourage people from owning property. You know, there's a limit that anybody can stand.
And you might discourage industry also from
That's true.
from moving in.
That's right. That's one thing that's helped the industry here is our low tax rate.
Has any thought been given to an employment tax? There are certain communities across the nation. I believe we have a phone call. Yes, may we help you?
Yeah, I was just calling about the wheel taxes they got on, they're talking about on television.
Okay, go ahead.
I moved up there from Alabama. I've got a son lives up there at Clefairs. They charge you $10 for a wheel tax sticker up there, and I went up there to get my license for a pickup. It cost me about $60. And
It cost you $60.
$57 or $58 and something.
Now, why did it cost you that much?
Well, it's the first time I bought one. I didn't know what it was when I went up there. I had to have one, you know. My other license run out. And why there's so much difference in one county from another county?
Well, let's ask. Why is there a difference between counties?
Primarily because the tax base is different in different counties. The larger counties, for example, let's use Putnam County. They've got a higher tax rate than us. However, they've got they have a lot higher base. They've got more to draw taxes from. They don't have a wheel sticker. Overton County's got a wheel sticker because we've got a low tax base. We don't have much source to get taxes other than property. Jackson County has got a $10 wheel sticker.
Yeah, well, that's what Campbell County is.
Uh-huh.
And my son lives up there, and he's lived there all his life, and he says they come out with a $30, same as Overton County.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wouldn't buy it. They went to other counties and bought the tags. Same situation you got here.
I think that's happening here.
Yeah.
It's happening
Yes,
here,
it
too.
is.
And the reason you got it because nobody don't want to pay that $30.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them not paying it. And well, of course, I'm a senior citizen, and I don't have no property here. I don't own nothing in the county. And rather than pay it next year, I'll move out of the county. I'll move somewhere else.
Well, let me ask you, would you be happier paying it if everybody paid it?
Well, I don't think they need $30 for the sticker.
Mm-hmm.
But he said they used to charge that in LaFayette. They come out with that when they started it. That's Campbell County.
Mm-hmm.
And they like I said, they went everywhere else to other counties to buy them and buy their tags. So
Let me ask.
cut it back to $10, and now he said a lot more people, well, nearly everybody's buying them now.
Let me ask Ozzy again, why are we paying $30? Where is this money going?
It's going into debt service to pay the debts primarily on construction jobs for schools over the past years. I'd like to know this, sir. Appreciate your question and thank you a lot for calling. Would you know what the tax rate is in Campbell County, the property tax rate?
No, I don't know what they are, but I know the wheel tax is only $10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind paying $10.
Mm-hmm.
But this $30 deal, I don't think it's. And of course, I know they got to have school money. I don't have no kids to go to school, but I don't make no difference about that.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea that, and then you got to pay your $30, then you got to buy that little sticker. That don't even come with it. And it don't matter to me. Like I said, if they don't change it, I'll move out to another county.
Well, I appreciate you calling because your sentiments, a lot of people feel the same way you do, sir. And
Well, why shouldn't they feel that way?
it just about a year ago, the county changed it from $10 to $30, and that increase really upset a lot of people, just like you're talking about. If you go to cutting the wheel sticker back down or take it away, it will increase property tax. You know that. Let me give you an example. Morgan County is a county; it's 2,000 or 3,000 less population than we are. Their tax rate is $6 and something, where ours is $2.62. They don't have a wheel sticker. All the counties around us, except Fentress, that don't have a wheel sticker, has a higher tax rate than we do, property tax rate. So apparently it was felt that it's better or more equitable to tax vehicles than it is just property owners.
Well,
I don't know whether I've explained it to you or not, but that's just some of the thinking in the past, I believe.
you're talking about property tax.
Yes.
You go out and assess people's property. You make them pay the property tax. You're not making people buy the wheels tax sticker, and you're not making them pay the $30. There's a lot of I know a lot of people here in Livingston don't have wheel stickers, stickers on their car.
Well, that is unfortunate because if there is a tax, it should be paid by all. I'd like to thank you
It
very.
should be, yeah, it should be, but it's
Right.
not be.
I'd like to thank you very much for calling, and please call again. Goodbye.
Right.
We'll say, if I might, that was, as Ozzy said, it's a big concern on everybody's mind about
Yes.
the wheel tax sticker. And that was one of the things that when I was out visiting with people, I told them that I would do my best to see that we could enforce it. Now, it's a very difficult tax to enforce. The Sheriff's Department is making a very good effort to try their best to do it, but as you alluded to a while ago, with 1 or 2 deputies on duty, their biggest priority is the public safety.
That's right.
And not so much enforcing the wheel tax. And it may be that we're going to have to rely on a lot of this kind of feeling for these people to call their neighbor and say, why don't you have your wheel tax sticker? Or call the sheriff and say, there's neighbors that don't, and not to rat on people, but to help the sheriff enforce this thing. We can't go out and enforce it. We don't have the authority to do it. But at the same time, the sheriff is busy with other things, and he's doing his best. We do get a report from the Sheriff's Department now, every other month, and we get quite a long list of tags that they have checked, and they have made verification if they do or do not live in this county, and they've made verification if they do or do not have the wheel tax sticker. If they don't, the letter goes out. They don't have to be caught driving on the roads anymore as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So the mechanisms for enforcing it have been improved. It's still not perfect. And back to the situation again, if you tax the property owners, you have the situation where somebody, and I'll use this gentleman as an example, doesn't own property in the county, but he is making a contribution to the school systems and to the debts that the school systems has by way of
That's
its wheel
right.
tax.
His wheel
So-
tax. If I might, I'd like to change the subject and just give you a visual picture that occurs in Livingston and maybe other parts of the county every Friday and Saturday night. And actually, I've even seen it almost all during the week now. You go down the main street and you see cars and pickups parked along the road, and lots of teenagers and lots of fellas and gals in their 20s just idly standing by. You know, the old adage, idle hands. It's someone's responsibility to see to it that our youth are their time is gainfully used. And I know it's difficult. I know it's a hard thing to do, and sometimes any program that you may evolve really picks the wrong kids out, the ones who would never get in trouble. But do you see this as a problem, and are there solutions to a county with a limited budget not really providing for its youth? But you think we should. We must get out there and do something. Jane, what's your feelings on this?
Well, Vic, there is a problem. There's a traffic problem. I don't know that there's any particular group working on an answer to this. I think that it would be wonderful if we had a facility that young people could go to. However, getting them there is not as easy as it sounds.
Jane, could I ask you to hold up because we have a
Okay.
caller. You're on the air, yes.
Yes, I was wondering, before you vote on that new school at Rickman, do you really think it's necessary? Do you think we have enough kids to fill up the new grade school we're building in Livingston Elementary?
That's an excellent question. Would you folks like to comment on it? Even though you're not really school board members, you're certainly aware of our student population and the monies being spent at Rickman.
That's a very good question, and thank you very much for calling. As we understand it, the state has told us to do one or two things. Number one, either renovate the existing building that is at Rickman or build a new building. So we're mandated to do that by the state. Either that or they're going to close the school down, and nobody wants that to happen.
That's true.
So we've elected to build about 80% of it new. The newest part of the building, the administrative part in the front, will not be torn down. It'll be primary classrooms that will be built new. The cafeteria will remain there. As I understand it, there's approximately 370 students in Rickman, and like I said, we have to do one or the other, you know, and that's the position we're in right now. I personally, and this is just personally, renovating is not a very good idea. It was going to cost around $500,000 to renovate. That was a low estimate. The estimate we're talking about now for the building program and some renovation of the program we've got in mind now is $1,057,000. But that includes some renovation to the existing buildings and new classrooms. I think it's the feeling that if we're going to have a Rickman school and we're going to have 375 and they're projecting a growth area down there, then I think it's our obligation to have a good school.
Ma'am, did that answer your question?
Well, I was just wondering if they think there's enough students to fill up the new K through 4 in Livingston Elementary.
Well, I believe they couldn't build at all. The state wouldn't allow it unless there actually were students, either there at present or in the future. I believe that is something that the state looks into very carefully because the state must approve buildings before they're actually built. I'd like to thank you for your question, and I must move on because we have about 2 or 3 more minutes on our hour-long live program. Again, thank you very much
Thank
for
you
calling.
very much.
Again, it's happened to us. An hour has gone by.
I can't believe it.
And I have the feeling now that even our viewers are getting more and more into the act, and probably if we were now more, we'd get a lot more phone calls. I know we were all eagerly awaiting them. In fact, as your comment was, you were prepared to learn a great deal from our phone callers, and I think we have already. I think we see the interest out there. Jean, you were commenting, and if you would sort of...
Well, I really don't know what to say about that problem, Vic. Hopefully something good will happen. I just really don't know. I do know that it's a problem, but I don't have a solution.
Well, I'd like to extend an invitation to our mayor of Livingston to drop in and chat with me to talk about it, because probably, even though Livingston is in the county and many of the people involved are from outside the city limits is still a particular problem here. I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight, Ozzie, Gene, and Gene.
Thank you.
It's most commendable. I think our city and our people and our county are well served when three of its public officials come, spend the time, and are so forthright and to the point. Folks, tune in next week again to get to a problem that affects our families, to look at our youth and where they're going, and to look at certain problems, which I mentioned in the opening part of the show, of 16,000 unwed mothers. We know that some of them are here in the county. We're going to have a few of the experts here next week. Get to your phone calls early, because it's going to be an exciting show. Thank you all, and thank you, our viewing audience.